It's like, yeah, I mean, he sucks. He like burns the town down every 500 years, but like he burns our town down every 500 years. He's ours.
Hello, and welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own table. I'm Tyler, and this week, Sam was super busy with one of her campaigns, so I ran a Pathfinder Society scenario with everybody, and it was pretty uneventful. I can't even remember what happened with it.
Went fine?
It went fine. Went mostly fine.
We avoided zombies.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They were trying to get loot out of a wrecked ship, and they had like a zombie tide that would come in. That's right. It's all coming back to me.
Tyler's trying to block it out because I was really frustrating. I'll throw myself under the bus for that one.
We went on a walk afterwards. I'm like, that was not fun for me.
And I was like, oh, my bad.
It's fine.
So I'm Sam. And in the session that I ran this week, one of our combat sessions was with terror birds, which I incorrectly assumed could fly because they're a bird. But apparently they're more of an ostrich. So I started combat with them in the air, and then I realized they didn't have a fly speed.
We spent so much time while you were like prepping things, trying to get the miniatures to sit on dice to show that they were flying.
And
then you're
like,
yeah, none of that mattered.
Shoot, they're on the ground.
I don't remember who mentioned it, but they were like, I don't think terror birds can fly. Aren't they big ostriches?
Dang it! And I'm Ryan, and in that same encounter, after we beat the terror birds, we recruited elk to the party.
That was adorable.
I think Sam was very confused why we recruited elk and why we brought them along, but by golly, we did.
I think.
Well, now you have elk, and one of them could be a mount for somebody if you really wanted them to,
That's
or
true.
maybe they'll like pull vehicles or help with the farming. I don't know.
It went great.
Yeah, it was a good sesh. Yeah, so we are continuing today our exploration of the Saga lands.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving slightly north to a land of the Linnorm Kings.
Yes.
And today we're going to pass it off to you, Ryan.
Yes. And glimpse behind the curtains here, I initially prepped for the Mammoth Lords and texted Tyler like, all right, I'm ready to record. And he's like, you big dummy.
Well,
That's not the country that's north that we're going to.
yeah, one of the other countries which we're going to talk about in a few episodes is the realm of the Mammoth Lords. And so he said that, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. He mixed up the Linnorm Kings.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Figured it out. I pivoted. It all worked out. So we're going to do the lands of the Linnorm Kings.
I like it. I am excited for this one. And
Yes.
This is one of the ones we talked about in the first episode.
Way back.
Yeah. And so it just kind of fits that we are circling back to it in our 20th
Oh
episode.
my gosh.
Ooh. I know nothing about the Linnorm Kings. I think they have like been mentioned vaguely, like in different adventure paths, but like I have no concept for what they are. I think like my brain is like vaguely Vikings on dragons, but I don't think that's correct, but I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just start. When we talk about the lands of the Linnorm Kings,
Okay. And is it Linnorm or Linnorm?
I think either one's probably
I
fine.
feel like Linnorm makes.
We'll stick with Linnorm. Let's talk about what Linnorms are first.
Okay.
Because it's half of the title, and this is where I spent a good chunk of my time because I really didn't even know what a Linnorm was.
Yeah.
So Linnorms, we know what dragons are, right?
Yes.
We talked about the true dragons before, our chromatics and our metallics, which are
going away.
kind of going away anyway. So we'll see what happens with the Linnorms, but they are, in general, wingless serpentine dragons that do not have wings.
Okay, I'm partially right so far.
Yes, you're not too far off. They can still fly.
Do they? Okay, so they still have like legs.
They have arms and legs, yes.
Okay.
They can fly. They have magical flight. So their ability to fly actually comes from the first world.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like Fey influenced, and they all have various flavors and degrees of connections to Fae.
Interesting.
Some of them are able to like just pass back to the first world. They can like teleport for free.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's definitely like a Fae Linnorm connection that varies depending on the type of Linnorm.
And
Is the creature in Neverending Story like a wingless lizard? Is that a bear? Gosh, what? Now I'm just picturing the face of that thing, and I'm like, is there any body back there? I don't know.
There's, so when I do the video of this, or maybe I can put this on the site, I'll pull up like the chart of dragon type things, because there's like the world histories of different types of dragons chart. Maybe it's been a while since I Never Ending Story.
And I feel like you talk about wingless and
they have hands
and serpentine, and it kind of just reminds me of like the Tian Sha Imperial dragons, which are more of the like East Asian inspired kind of long tubular bodies.
Yes, I think they're similar, but they're not quite the same. Is my take. But like I said, I'll pull up the actual chart of dragons around the world and reference specifically which one we're pointing at.
Also, if you don't know what Neverending Story is, you probably weren't born in the 90s.
Okay, I'm not like totally wrong though. I understand why I have associated this creature.
Yeah, you're not far off.
Like, I'm showing a picture to Tyler and Ryan right now. It looks more like a dog head with a serpentine body.
Yeah, you're not
a
far
Linnorm
off.
dog.
Slightly weird, but I think it could live in this land.
So after this, we're going to post pictures from today, and then also the movie cover from Neverending Story, which came out like maybe 93.
Perfect.
92. I don't know.
Perfect. In addition,
1984.
Oh God.
Not even close.
Man.
We weren't even alive, so it's okay.
Anyway,
it's fine.
Back to Pathfinder.
This
has been a never-ending podcast.
Never-ending podcast. The Linnorms also generally think that they're the first dragons, although we're going to call them the true dragons, like what were chromatic and metallics. They don't believe them, and they think they're the first dragons, so that is up for interpretation. Linnorms everyone generally agrees Linnorms suck and are mean.
Okay.
They are universally agreed to be not friendly, not well-mannered, even from birth. Like a Linnorm mama will give birth to 6 eggs, and then the first one born eats the other 5.
What?
They're all jerks.
Yeah, like literally they live to be carnivores and eat and kill, and they're just not nice creatures. They're mean.
Huh. Man. Yeah. So they left the first world just to come be jerks in Golarion.
Yeah. But most interestingly, every Linnorm has a curse.
Ooh.
Yes. So even
they are cursed, or you get cursed by it.
If you kill them, you are cursed.
What?
Oh, that's awkward.
Yes. So I'm going to run through some of the different types real quick and the curses, and they vary from mild inconvenience to, oh my gosh, that's awful. So we can start with our Karen Linnorms. They're like gaunt, like skinny ones. Their curse is the curse of decay. You age at an accelerated rate of 1 year per day.
Oh, wait.
So if you kill it, you age at 1 year per day.
You better hope you're an elf.
Yeah, I imagine if you're an elf, at least you're like, I can live for maybe a
theoretically a long time.
Theoretically immortal.
Yeah.
As a human, you're like, I'll see you guys in 3 weeks. I'm died.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways to magically get rid of curses, right? So none of these are technically death sentences, but that one's pretty bad. We have Crag Linnorms.
Okay.
It just makes you slightly more vulnerable to fire.
That's
if
fair.
You kill one. So you just don't like hot stuff.
Yeah, that's something that's easy enough to avoid in everyday life.
Yeah. The Fjord Linnorms, they eat sharks, which is interesting. And it's the curse of drowning. You lose the ability to breathe in water, and you can only hold your breath for half as long.
Huh.
Oh. So don't go swimming.
Yeah, I think it's a big killer for like if you're a merfolk.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say,
that'd be bad.
Then you lose your ability to breathe underwater.
I was gonna say, I'm like, as a human, it's like I still can't breathe underwater. Dang it.
Right. You have your Gare Linnorms. They're the ones that live in rivers. It's the curse of drowning gasp. Anytime you drink anything, your lungs begin to fill with water and you begin to drown.
Oh, that one's real bad.
So that was kind of a death sentence, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a nightmare I once had. Ooh, I don't like that.
Ice Linnorms, you are vulnerable to cold.
Okay.
So you don't like cold places, which is a problem here in the land of the Linnorm Kings, but...
Yeah, we're like near the north of the continent, so...
Yeah, but in general, you probably like be okay with that one.
Yeah, you just have a lot of blankets.
Yes. The Sea Linnorms, it's the curse of the crushing depths. You take damage every round while underwater as if you're at the bottom of the ocean.
Again, stay on land.
Does that count for like baths?
Yes, it does. Like
What?
literally, like if your body is fully submerged to any degree, you take damage as if you are at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
Don't wash your hands, little Timmy.
Yes, you can just never take a bath. That's all. Never a full submerging bath. You could
You
probably
got a
take
sponge
like a
bath.
Yes, yes.
That's fair.
The Tiaga Linnorms, you have vulnerability to electricity, which isn't that bad.
Yeah.
The Tarn Linnorm, which is a two-headed Linnorm, it sleeps like in the deepest lakes. It's the curse of death. You can no longer be affected by healing spells and cannot heal damage from rest.
Oh. So you're just...
You gotta
Oh.
go stick yourself in a room and hope no one ever comes to see you.
Yeah, like every paper cut you sustain will never heal.
Oh.
That just reminds me of like Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. They like have this whole thing where any injury you sustain,
It's permanent.
yeah, if you like become their, I can't remember what the name is, but
And it like makes people like go crazy because
Yeah,
you're just
because,
like
like,
in
you
pain all the time.
like you
oh,
stub
this
your
paper
toe.
cut.
And you
Yeah.
just have a forever stub toe.
yeah,
Oh.
and then like the pain just, it's always as if you initially just stubbed your toe.
Step on a Lego brick and you're like, no!
Oh.
Forever.
The death sentence. Step on a D4.
Oh, no.
Oh.
We have the Tor Linnorms, which are the ones that live in volcanoes. It's the curse of boiling blood. You get vulnerability to fire, and you are permanently disabled from the pain of your boiling blood.
Oh.
Well, that sounds correct.
I imagine at the bar, you just had the Crag Linnorm be like, look at my curse. And the Tor Linnorm's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, pretty much. And then finally, we have the Father of the Linnorms, which is kind of like big old daddy Linnorm.
Nice.
It's called the Curse of the Father. If you kill the Father of the Linnorms, you become the Father of the Linnorms.
So you become the mob boss.
Yeah, so if you kill him, 24 hours later, you like turn into him, and you're the next version.
Do you become a Linnorm?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of cool.
It's kind of like a Death Knight kind of thing where like you turn into it.
But you still like are yourself.
No, you lose. You
Oh.
you like gain the memories of the previous father.
Oh, so he just like reincarnates using you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's not great.
yeah. But you get to be a Linnorm, sort of, kind of. So
Until the next one kills you.
yes,
Ew.
yeah. So go ahead. Tyler's got a thought.
This sounds, from what I know of the Linnorm Kings, and I'm sure we'll get to it, I'm like, this makes me seem like way less interested as an adventurer.
Yeah. So I start with all this because keep in mind, like the system of government for the lands of the Linnorm Kings requires you to kill a Linnorm.
Oh.
So in the back of your mind, when you're thinking about all these people going out to kill these things, there are serious consequences. Even if they win,
Yeah.
things aren't always great.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that we know what a Linnorm is, back to the actual lands of the Linnorm Kings. We are northwest of New Thassalon. It's the northernmost civilized area before basically the North Pole or the crown of the world. The Storm Spear Mountains are the geographic and natural border up there. Paizo describes it as the land of the Vikings.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I was right on both accounts.
You were. It's
My vague recollection was correct.
You nailed it. It's literally on the back of the book for the land of the Linnorm Kings, Vikings.
I love it.
We know what we're about.
I mean,
Vikings.
I support it.
Yeah. The native inhabitants are known as the Ulthen.
Okay.
They are Vikings, right? They're like your kind of generic Nordic peoples from Earth. And we start our history in negative 624 AR. Our hero, Sagebjorn Armfang.
Man, we're going to have so many...
Oh my gosh. That's
so
part
many
of
mispronunciations.
Some of the names are going to be ridiculous. He defeats a Crag Linnorm in one-on-one combat.
Nice.
And he takes the head back to his people and goes, yep, I'm king now. I killed this big evil dragon thing. I am your king. And everyone's like, yep, that checks out.
That checks out.
And now he just doesn't really like fire very much.
Yes. So that was not too bad, right?
Yeah.
And this becomes the de jure understanding of government. So if you want to be a king, you need to kill a Linnorm. And the more powerful Linnorm, the better.
I love, that just kind of like, that is a good form of government. And like everyone just agreed like, oh, yeah, okay, let's do that.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
Kill a Linnorm, come back with the head. Yeah, you're a king.
I mean, sure.
You've proven that you're like the toughest and the strongest and possibly the most reckless, but you know.
The ultimate meritocracy.
Right, right. It is a system of government, and it is, it's negative 624 right now, and this is going to last for a while. So it is relatively stable.
That's
Okay.
fair.
So he goes back to his people. They all agree, like, yep, You did it. He founds the city of Karlsrad.
Okay.
And it starts out as just like his mead hall where he and his boys would drink after going out for hunts. But everyone really wants to be around him because he's such a cool person that like industry and government springs up around the mead hall.
That's awesome.
And it becomes like one of the focuses, like the centers of the whole nation.
It sounds like Caden Kellyan would enjoy that or
Oh, yeah.
hang out here a lot.
That is cool to just think like when cities kind of pop up around industry or like resources, it's interesting in a place that cities pop up around a dude.
Drinking buddies.
Yeah.
Like we decided to drink here, and that's why we established the city.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's a pretty cool dude. Sageborn Armfang is, riding high. He continues to go around. He continues to gain territory. And in every place he goes, every tribe, every town, every settlement, they all agree he's pretty much unbeatable. He's the best, and they're going to follow him. So at its largest extent, his empire in -608 spans from the western coast all the way through to parts of modern-day Irison.
Okay.
So he takes basically the whole country by storm, and everyone's like, yep.
Sounds good.
He's our man. He's the guy.
Woo.
But, once you have it all, you got to go get more, right?
You got to go exploring.
You got to go exploring. That's right. So down to the south, there are these troublesome frost giants, kind of like where New Thassalon is.
Okay.
And he decides, well, I want to rule the land that the frost giants has too. So he gets a little cocky. He gets a little expedition going, and they go attack the frost giants, but it's unsuccessful. So then we decide, okay, well, what worked before? Well, we killed a Linnorm, right? And everyone thought I was really cool for killing a Linnorm.
Sure.
Stay in your lane, Sageborn.
Well, so he goes, well, I'm going to go find the literally biggest, baddest Linnorm in the entire area called Fafnir.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like the not quite the father of all Linnorms, but he's the generally acknowledged top of the food chain.
Fair.
He goes, yep, I'm going to kill that one. I'm going to come back with its head. I'm going to show it to the frost giants. And they're going to do the exact same thing that the humans did, right? They're going to be like, wow, you sure did kill that Linnorm. We are going to be your people now.
Yeah.
That's his plan.
That's a tactic. Okay.
Yeah.
That's his plan.
He knows what he's good at. Drinking and killing dragon people.
Yeah, it
dragon
worked
things.
once. Why wouldn't it work the next time?
Yeah.
So he decides he doesn't want to bring an entourage because that'd be too dangerous. He walks into the Fafnir forest. Oh, sorry, the Gungnir forest. Grungnir? Gosh, these names are so hard.
Grungir? Grungir.
Grunger?
Grungir.
Grungir. He walks into the Grungir forest and never returns.
Oh. Wah, wah.
That's how the story of Sageborn Armfang ends.
He lived as he died. Died as he lived.
Quite literally went to go fight the biggest, baddest Linnorm and presumably died. No one ever found his body. At least not that I could find. But he has sons and, he has a nation he leaves behind. So they all go out and they start doing their thing, keeping the government going. I kind of just have it as internal politics happen for a while.
Yeah.
In a nation of right by killing large draconic creatures. There's a lot of people who just go out and kill dragons and Linnorms, and they decide, yep, I should be king now. So stuff happens.
Yeah.
Some high points from this short era. King Olvas takes a fleet west and discovers Arcadia.
Oh. Nice.
The first Avestani people to go to Arcadia.
Nice.
And he establishes the town of Valenhall.
Arcadia, is that a different continent?
That is basically North America.
Yeah. So
so he gets on a boat and goes.
He takes a fleet and they go west across the ocean and they discover
well,
quote
that's
unquote
right.
Arcadia.
Yeah. So if you have like the inner sea region of an area where Avestan's up north, Garund is on the south, and then you go west. You go west across the ocean. That's Arcadia.
Yep.
And there's honestly not a lot of stuff written about it at the moment.
And then if you had gone east out of Avestan, that would take you to Tian Sha?
North. North is Tian Sha because it's across the top of the world.
Well, I mean, technically it's both north and east.
Sure, yeah.
But you have inner sea region, Avestan, Garund. East of that is Kazmaran.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then east of that is Tian Sha.
I hate this discussion for the video. I hate this discussion for the video. That's okay.
How dare we talk about the globe?
Yeah. So Olvas does that. He goes west and he discovers Arcadia. Good times. Torval the Ill-Tongued, he kills this other guy named King Rolf the Wicked with a song that stops the king's heart.
What?
He sings him to death?
Yes.
Is he a bard?
It's not explicitly, but I'm assuming he's a bard and uses some kind of bardic magic to stop the king's heart.
Or he's just so bad at singing?
Or so good, Tyler. Have you ever heard something so beautiful that you were like, well, I'll just die now. Nothing will get better.
But the problem, Sam, problem is, in this form of government, killing the king is not enough.
Oh.
Just because you've sung the king to death, no one actually believes you're a cool person. So everyone goes, well, great. You've killed the king. Now you have to go kill a Linnorm.
We just never appreciate the arts.
So he walks out into the wilderness to kill a Linnorm and never returns.
Oh, buddy. Poor Ilt. I imagine he killed the king and then everyone's like, cool, next step. He's like, I've made a huge mistake.
I just wanted music.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
I also, in my head now, I just imagine Torval is like a distant cousin to Aspects.
Oh, yeah.
You have
The even-tongued and the ill.
You have the tongued brothers, the ill-tongued and the even-tongued.
Perfect. So yeah, that's just a couple little highlights. The next big one is negative 446 AR. It's called the Giantkin War. The queen of the Frost Giants, Queen Ledaramu, I think I got that one. She strikes north and plunges the whole area into chaos.
Well, did she kill a Linnorm?
Well, no, because they have a valid giant form of government. I don't know. The
I don't
giant's
accept your form of
government.
government. I didn't vote
Look,
for
she's
you.
down here. She's like, we've got a parliament. We've got voting. I don't know what y'all are doing up
We
there.
have representative democracy.
we have universal health care.
The Ulfin do not appreciate being invaded by the Frost Queen and her minions.
Yeah.
So it takes them 4 years, but they eventually get a counterattack together.
Okay.
So our boy King Olvas, the one who sailed west, he's back. He leads a personal assault on the Queen's fortress with he and his boys.
Nice.
The Queen, realizing she is going to be defeated, she self-destructs and she brings the entire city down with her, killing her, Olvas, and both armies.
That's a power move right there.
It is.
That's amazing.
Yes. So, of course, the Ulfin being rational humans, right? They look at their entire army laid waste, the city destroyed, and they go, man, our King Ulfas must have done some dope stuff.
Sure.
Just imagine it's that meme like, I made this explosion. You made this. We made this.
Yeah, and it literally, like, he becomes a martyr to the Ulfin people, so much so that they, like, rally around the flag because their king is so awesome. And they, like, form another army and they push south and they win the war.
That's ultimate ignorance is bliss.
He was so excellent. Let's just do it again.
Well, that's just amazing that it's like they just were not clear on who caused the destruction. We're like, that must have been us. Let's keep going.
It had to have been us.
Rather than the normal reaction
It was
to.
very intentional.
Yeah, who else would bring down a city? Our king. That's
Yeah.
the one who brought it down.
Yeah, fair.
The Ulfin are great. I just love them. Meanwhile, that's that war. That's the Giantkin War. A couple hundred years pass, more internal politics occur. In negative 217 AR, Ulfin ships arrive in Taldor. So they sail. Yep. Tyler's doing with his finger. They sail all the way down around through the inner sea, and they arrive in Opera
Okay.
from our Taldor episode.
Opara.
Yes.
Yes.
Opara.
Not Oprah.
They arrive in Opera. Opara.
Oprah's here.
And they have to stay, and they become the Emperor's personal guard for money. They're like, yeah, this isn't such a bad gig. If you pay us to, like, guard you, we'll just hang out here.
What was their intent when they went to Taldor? Were they just like, we're going to invade? Were they like, we're seeing the world?
Yeah, so I have a bunch of these coming up here, but the Ulfin kind of just, like, do the Viking thing.
Oh, okay.
And they get, like, anywhere from 5 to 20 ships together. Like, let's just go mess stuff up. So they got to Opara, and they're like, I mean, if you pay us, we're cool. We'll stay here. We'll hang out.
All
It's
right.
like the good form of exploring. We're here for a job.
Yeah. So I kind of hand wave the next 2,000-ish years because it's a lot of just
Woo.
like we're going around and sailing around and raiding with our buddies.
I like it.
So again, some highlights. There's a whole book, right? The Land of the Linnorm Kings. It's a whole book. High King Olaf is killed when a localized earthquake knocks a keystone loose from an arch right onto his head.
Huh.
And
Very
localized being
specific.
like that only that arch was hit by an earthquake.
Huh.
like an extremely localized earthquake.
And everyone
Seems
was
targeted.
That's it.
Civil war and conspiracies ensue.
As they should. Like,
I think that's I think in 2E, that's the spell like sudden disaster. I forget what that spell exactly is called.
Yeah, like impending
Yeah.
impending doom or
Yes,
something.
I think it's like
Yes.
that spell essentially. Like a natural disaster occurs and only hits the king.
That is such a fun spell.
It's great. I've used it. It's amazing. Jarl Strom Sunbelt goes out and hires some wizards and some demons, and he takes a throne.
Cool.
That's not the way we do things here.
Yeah.
You have to go kill a Linnorm.
Yeah.
Civil war and conspiracies ensue.
Sure.
The elfin people are not happy about this, like, just absolute destruction of their way of life.
Yeah.
So they sacrifice all the wizards to the gods of winter.
Oh.
Cool.
Because you got to get back on the gods of winter.
So are there multiple kings at one time? Like when we're
Yes.
saying, okay, so we have smaller
Anywhere
territories
from
within
like
this.
1 to like 15 or 20. It like very much depends on who's the strongest king and their ability to politic each other. But it's extremely rare for them to ever be less than like 1 or 2. It's
Okay.
usually at least 5 or 6 all doing stuff in their own. They're all kind of doing their own things in their own areas.
So it's almost just kind of like a bunch of different city-states.
Yes, it's very much the vibe of city-states, but they're Vikings and they
A bunch
have
of
to kill dragons to be the king of the city-state.
a bunch of different beer league drinkers.
Yes. Other Ulfin, they sail all over the place. There are records of them raiding Tianjia. They're obviously in Avestan. They show up in Arcadia again, all the way down to Garund.
Nice.
There's like scattered records of them basically showing up all over the place, causing all kinds of chaos, and just doing Ulfin things.
Nice.
Yeah. So of specific note is Taldor, and by proxy Cheliax, do actually a very good job of keeping notes and records. So they are all over Taldor and Cheliax, raiding down the coast, all down the western and southern coasts. And there's this big sea battle called the Battle of Eridan's Arch, where the Taldane forces and fleet repel the Ulfin. The Ulfin get really pissed off that they lost, so they come back with an even bigger fleet, and they go specifically back to Eridan's Arch, and they just invade and pillage and burn. And they get a settlement out of Taldor, and they come back with 100,000 gold and a formal peace treaty.
Who?
So then in our next thing, 2,000 years-ish later, I think Sam will talk probably more in detail, so I'll keep it high level, is the Winter War. So in 3312 AR, the Northern Lights get super bright for 12 hours. So everyone like out at night is like, wow, the Northern Lights are basically the sun. That's kind of weird. Everyone acknowledges this is when Baba Yaga came back.
Oh.
Again, I think we're going to talk about Irison next time. So just know Baba Yaga's a thing. Baba Yaga returns. Baba Yaga ravages all over the eastern Linnorm lands, and it does not go well for the Linnorm Kings.
Ooh.
Baba
not
Yaga's
great.
doing great. So they do the most Viking thing ever. They contact the Fae, because
Nice.
the Linnorm all have a Fae connection, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And they like beg for a weapon and like a way to help stop Baba Yaga. So the Fae cut a deal. They're going to trade Ulfin children for magical weapons.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez.
Oh no.
So they send a bunch of children into the first world.
Oh.
In exchange, they get magical weapons that are really good against Baba Yaga's stuff.
Ooh.
How do we think the kids did in the first world? Like, were they brought over as like, oh, we love children, they're cute, let's have them run around with fairies?
No. So there's actually still like even modern day reports of Ulfin bodyguards for Fae kings and queens.
Ew. Well, so they weren't straight up murdered.
No. But they were like basically like, oh, you're gonna make great you're like badass kids. Like you're gonna be our bodyguards.
Mm.
The Ulfin end up being bodyguards in a bunch of different places.
Indentured servitude. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Also, in very Fae fashion, whoever like the magical weapon is given to, when they die, the weapon disappears.
Oh,
So
sure.
they like someone else can't pick it up and continue to use it.
Oh no.
Like the initial wheeler dies and the weapon disappears. So they're able to like stem the tide and fight Baba Yaga to a stalemate, but they can't. They don't win.
Yeah.
They just stop the bleeding.
Hmm.
And that's the Winter War, and we'll do more about it for Irison.
Okay.
Oh, guys, I'm so excited for this one. In 4100 AR, Kuthites from Nidal.
Hey, old friends from night. Oh, yes.
Oh boy.
I'm
forgot.
so mad. I'm so mad this detail wasn't included when I was doing my Nidal research.
Oh no.
I'm so mad. So they arrive and they try to preach the good word of the Shadow Lord. And the current king is like, I want none of this. So he puts the one of them to death using the blood eagle.
Do we want to know what that is?
Okay. I guess graphic thing warning.
Oh geez.
Skip ahead a minute or two. Yeah, the short version is they cut down the spine and then they pull the ribs and the lungs backward to be wings.
Okay, well, that's
Oh.
gross. Okay, so
Yeah, so brutal.
that is not great.
Not great. The best part of all this is all the other Kuthites are like, me next.
Oh, no!
Oh, God. Oh, no.
They all see their brethren get tortured and killed, and they're like, that looks amazing. I want to be next. There's a vibe, and they just lean in.
What did all? Can you just imagine the Ulfin being like, "This is what happens to you," and then be like, "We get a lot of different reactions to that one,
This
and
was
this is
not the response we were looking for.
This is a first."
For anyone who played Borderlands 2, this is strong Firehawk vibes
Yeah.
for Matchstick. Like,
Burn me.
yeah, it's super strong vibes. So you're exactly right, Tyler. The king is super weirded out by this. He puts all the remaining diplomats in a big bonfire and just burns them all. He's like,
He's like, nope,
I
burn it
want
with fire.
no part of you people.
So is this the same thing when we talked in the Nightall
Yes.
episode? And it was like they just all died.
Yes, this is them.
And so
Oh.
in that episode we're like, oh, they all died. That sucked for them. And then really it's one died, and then all of them were like, ooh, yes.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
I want to experience that.
I mean, I like that the Linnorm King's response was, nope, just put it in the fire. Nope, we're not doing it.
We're just gonna burn the house down. I want no part of this. Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm really mad. I'm really sad that I couldn't have discovered that until after, but it's just
Dang.
that's so on brand for Nidal.
That fits.
So then, fast forward a couple hundred years, there's internal politics this whole time.
Yeah.
Cheliax decides that they want to invade the land of the Linnorm Kings, which, if you do the geography in your head, that's kind of a stretch.
They have gone way far.
But it kind of makes sense. They've already gotten into Varissia, and they were successful going north into Varissia.
Well,
That's true. They were only in the southern part of it, though. They didn't get very far north.
Yeah, so it's not.
Well, and isn't there there's a big bay there, right? So they could technically go
They could go up and around.
hit Varissia and then go immediately in.
Yeah, so it's not unreasonable, but it's still kind of a weird decision.
Yeah.
Cheliax is kind of all over the place, but they initially find out about the Linnorm Kings' existence through Opara, and then as part of the Everwar, they had actually hired some Ulfin mercenaries, and the Ulfin are talking about oh yeah, our lands are great. So yeah, Cheliax sends a fleet. They try to establish a colony / invade. It ends with a bunch of Chelish heads in a pickled barrel sent back by the Ulfin.
At least they're committed to preservation.
Yeah, they're they kind of almost pull the Sparta, the last remaining Spartan thing. They kill all of them except one, and then they send that one dude back with a bunch of heads, and they're tell the Chelish people what they saw here.
I mean, Ulfin people seem great.
Roughly around the same time, there's a guy named Opier Eightfingers.
Okay.
He appears at the gates of a city with the decayed head of a Linnorm. He swears he killed,
Ooh.
but everyone thinks he found the head and someone else had killed the Linnorm.
I would like to know which 2 fingers he was missing. Do we think it was 2 pinkies? Do we think it was a ring finger?
I don't know. That's a good
2 on
question.
each hand?
He
or
fought
2
with no thumbs.
2 on one hand, but the other hand's fine?
I do not know. That's a good question. But yeah, people don't really believe that he's a king, but on a technicality, he has the head of the Linnorm.
On a technicality.
You are technically correct. but
Yeah,
that's
so
kind of
he ends up being challenged dozens of times by people in one-on-one combat, and he wins every time.
Okay.
He puts all these challengers down and holds on to his status until this is our connection back to New Thassalon. He's the one that attacked Bellamarius.
Oh,
Oops.
So people didn't like him anyway because they thought he was a false leader. He sends this attack into New Thassalon, like, well, I'm going to go take over those lands. And that attack fails. Bellamarius retaliates and kills him. And everyone's like, yeah, we didn't like him anyway.
I love the connection there. Yeah, when I was researching New Thassalon, I didn't say why they didn't like him, so that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yup.
Yeah, everyone thought he was a pretender to the throne, basically. It's also written that some people in the lands of the Linnorm Kings don't think that he's actually dead. Some people think that Bellamarius captured him and there's like keeping him in the dungeon
Okay.
for whatever nefarious purposes she might have. So potential future adventure bait there, I'm not sure.
Nice. I like it.
And that kind of brings us up to modern days. The lands of the Linnorm Kings are almost entirely unchanged politically. They still rule by right of who killed a Linnorm.
Mm-hmm.
There's like changing faction, or there's changing country and city-state sizes and shapes. Like one king might die and a different king might kill a Linnorm, and then that city's like, well, we used to follow that one, but he's dead, so we're going to follow this one now. And
Fair.
it's kind of horse tradey and just rule by the strongest, kind of.
Well, and I think I remember just like, it's almost just kind of preservation for the people too, since Linnorms, I thought I remember hearing that Linnorms are just like really crappy to the places they are.
Yes.
So it's like kind of a...
Yes, there's actually, it's talked about how even though like Linnorms are evil, terrible creatures, a lot of like smaller towns kind of like adopt the local Linnorm as like their mascot. It's like, yeah, I mean, he sucks. He like burns the town down every 500 years, but like he burns our town down every 500 years. He's ours. You can't mess with our Linnorm.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's great. So the current political climate is as follows. There's King White Estrid pulled a power move. She subjugated her Linnorm instead of killing her Linnorm.
That's
Ooh.
awesome.
So
I
she
like
went
that.
out there, defeated it in combat, and then it was like, you work for me now.
I like that.
I also just want to know that like people who are going to be like, technically you're not king, and be like,
100%.
talk to my dragon that can kill you.
You're 100%. So that was super scandalous. People were like, that goes against tradition. You're not a legitimate leader. And then she points to the Linnorm and was like, you can submit all complaints to my Linnorm.
And then he just eats them.
Literally, it's like, you have a problem? You can talk to the fact that my Linnorm's like right here. You want to have a chat? It's great. It's right here.
Fair.
There is Thera Ash Eyes has claimed the throne of Karlsgrad, that
Cool.
city we talked about originally. Nankau claimed the title of the King of Icemark, but she is not Ulfin.
Ooh.
She is Varki, which is
What's-
kind of like the rough equivalent of like an Inuit style.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So they're not Ulfin. They're like an even further northern human
Mhm.
tribe.
Okay.
And that's also super scandalous because all the Ulfin were like, but Linnorm Kings are thing.
I love all these women just breaking down barriers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so it's, again, super scandalous, but you're not, but, I mean, I know you killed it, but that's not fair. So there's a lot of belly aching about her, which is great. But none of the kings are united. There's no, like, grand alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Irison is still to the east, and it's a problem. New Thassalon is to the south, and it's generally acknowledged to be a potential problem.
Yeah. Well, because they also annex some of the no lands.
Yes.
So I imagine that's kind of encroaching on your
Yes.
fair game land.
Yes. So kind of the general consensus is if the Linnorm Kings could get their stuff together and actually unite politically, it would be a huge boon / issue depending on who you
Yeah.
are, because they would actually be a super powerful, strong power block. But
Yeah.
there's like no obvious way that would happen right now.
That's fair.
If Baba Yaga invading from the east couldn't do it, people really aren't sure if anything can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we are.
Nice.
The Linnorm Kings do their thing and continue to rule by right of killing a large serpentine beast.
I mean,
Or subjugating them.
Or subjugating now.
I
that's
feel
true,
like of
yes.
all the forms of government we've talked about on this podcast so far, this is by far the most efficient.
I just kept thinking of Monty Python, like some watery tart throws a sword at you. Like, you kill a Linnorm and now you're a king.
Nice. Well, thank you, Ryan. This was a grand adventure to the north.
Yeah.
So we will take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and come back with some campaigns and characters.
Yeah.
Ulfins, it's time to take action. Your government supports a system that exploits innocent creatures. Stop the madness. Why does a species have to die for another to survive? We can live together in peace. Respect the rights of the First World dragons. Speak up for the Linnorms and their habitats. Join Ulfins for the prevention of Linnorm exploitation now!
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to our sponsors, the UPLE, for that very
Passionate message.
passionate
Passionate's a
message.
good word.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so I am doing the campaign today, and when I was thinking about this, I was like, you can't have a campaign in the land of the Linnorm Kings and not have it end with the players becoming Linnorm Kings.
Sure.
So, straight from the get-go, the plan is for the players to become Linnorm Kings. But the inspiration of my campaign, there's this board game called Blood Rage,
Oh, I love playing Blood Rage.
which you control a clan of Vikings, so very fitting, that are trying to gain as much glory during Ragnarok before you all die and get to Valhalla.
Yep, it is great because the board just gets wiped.
The board is getting wiped, and like you are actively trying to die.
Mm-hmm.
So how I would kind of pull that into here is each player, instead of controlling a single character, you would control a Ulfin clan.
Okay.
And your backstory would be more about the clan backstory, not for any individual character, because my plan for this campaign is it'd be kind of a meat grinder. Like, you guys are leveling up with the eventual hope that obviously you are going to become Linnorm Kings in your own right.
I love this.
Okay.
And
Rethinking my character rapidly as we speak, making it a clan.
yes, sorry, I didn't tell you to build a clan, but you can build a character of your clan. And then
It's
we
okay. I'm doing it. I've got it in my brain. It's
Okay,
great.
perfect. Yeah, so I imagine you could do this a couple different ways. You could do it competitively or cooperatively. I kind of like the idea of cooperative. Like you said, there's not one Linnorm King.
Correct, yeah.
So I imagine you can have, a group of clans that are all kind of like supporting each other as they like strike out on their own. Like maybe they started as a group of drinking buddies,
Yeah.
and are like, we could build our own families and then we can kind of become dynasties.
Yeah,
So
like even if only one of us can technically be the king, we're all going to benefit.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's going to be semi-traditional, pretty combat heavy, but you're going to be leveling up, and as you go, like, I imagine a lot of encounters would be like probably ratcheted up in terms of difficulty, so that way if you die, your next part of the clan is just going with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about this, but I know that Linnorms mechanically have like levels, I think from, I don't know, like 8 to 20.
Yeah. The different Linnorms all have kind of just like the true dragons, right? They're like different levels and different ages, and you don't need to be a level 20 character to go out and kill a Linnorm necessarily.
Yeah. So I imagine that you basically are leveling up and going on your adventure. And then when you kind of like want to stop and become a Linnorm King, you like go for it at whatever level you're at and see if you can make it. And if you can make it, then like, cool, you became a smaller Linnorm King for this group. But if like you want to keep kind of trying your bets and go higher
Right.
and higher and higher and try to become like Sageborn and fight the strongest of...
Right.
So do you get like more experience for dying? Is this like Valhalla-esque where it's like, cool, I sent 20 dudes out and they all died, extra experience for me, leveling up?
How I would do this is it would be like you inherit either like a skill or like a feat maybe from
Ooh,
the
okay.
person who
There's
died.
some legacy component.
Yeah, so you're not just like, well, gotta roll a new character. It's like if you go out and die, like your next character becomes stronger.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of keep snowballing your character how you want.
Yeah.
So there'd definitely be some homebrew. This would work under the
for sure.
current system. But yeah, I imagine you like snowball your clan until like you have your Ulfin who's gonna just
I like that.
tear apart
I love this.
Linnorm and then become the ruler of a country.
I
That's
love
cool.
this.
Okay, so Sam, have you thought of 5 characters for your clan?
So naturally, I have a whole clan, their backstory, and what they all look like.
Okay, but I kind of do. Okay, so
This is why we give
Surprise.
This is why we give Sam the characters, because she can just like make a character on the spot.
so inspired by kind of that Norse mythology, blood ragey situation, I would build my clan like they are the Valkyries. So I would have
Yes.
a bunch of badass ladies fighting stuff.
Yes.
Dang.
And I'm also inspired by our current king over here, who subjugated the Linnorm. I think that like they're like, no, the real power move is if we have the Linnorm and we ride them into battle. So that's like
Ooh.
where we're headed. So we're trying to like build up our combat, and when we find the Linnorm we want, we're gonna ride that dude right into battle and win.
Your goal is to like domesticate Linnorms.
Yes.
I just imagine you like where some you might be like lower level to try to reach up to that Linnorm. You basically just like get high enough level to beat down the Linnorm to then ride it to the next
The
Linnorm,
next one.
Yes.
and then beat up that Linnorm, and then ride it.
It's a continual upgrade. It's
Yeah,
like
it's a
car.
ladder. Linnorms are a ladder.
You come back, like the debrief of every group of sessions is like how each clan is doing, and your clan's just like we got another herd.
Training them up.
I like that. And it would be kind of cool to just see the different types of ways people go about it, because obviously the interesting thing about Linnorms is like you can't fight it as a party.
Yeah.
So by nature, you can't really have like a party go against the Linnorm to be a Linnorm. I mean, you could.
You can. I think it like, yeah, it like defeats the purpose of the government part.
Yeah. I mean, you can go out and just kill a Linnorm, but
I mean, really, though, the power move here, and what we would have to ask if the GM would let me do, is you find a mama Linnorm, because you said they have like 6, and then
Yep.
one eats the rest of
Yep.
them. So you would just find, do they lay eggs, do we think?
Yeah.
Or do we think this
Yeah,
is
it's
live?
eggs.
Okay. So we're going to find the eggs, and then we are going to hatch them, and then have like 6 Linnorms and raise them
just imagine
to be
like,
dicks to everybody else.
Intervene. That's against the natural way.
It's not in the handbook.
I just imagine like their nature is to immediately hatch and then start fighting the other ones around them, and then just you have these 6 Linnorms hatch, and then you just have a bunch of adventures beating the crap out of them. Are you just beating up that baby Linnorm?
The first one's here. Get it.
No, you take it out to a battlefield. They hatch. They're not trying to beat up each other. They're beating up your enemies.
You like imprint on.
Look, I'm just saying, men rolled into this country and saw the form of government of I have to kill it, and that's how I show my power. The women are like, no, I will raise it, and it will murder everything
love
for
it.
me.
I love it.
That's fair. I love this campaign already. So, and now I just really want to play Blood Rage. Dang it.
There's also, for probably the very few listeners who play solo, this is like the perfect high score mode.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, I rolled my character to level 10 and they died. Let's see if I can do better.
Yeah, this actually probably would be a decent like solo, or I know some people do like one GM and one player. This would be kind of a very
one-on-one.
perfect
Mhm.
one-on-one campaign, since like the whole form of government is you
Oh
building.
my gosh. This group of Valkyries. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Dang it. Gosh, I hate this section of our podcast because every time I'm like, I want to play it. We don't have time.
Yeah, so I guess we can post the character sheet that I have that has nothing to do with this now. I made a swashbuckler,
That works.
So-
Hey, it
which
still works.
could technically work.
Yeah, it'll be the first Valkyrie.
Yes, her name is Aspen, so...
Aspen's out on a longboat, swashbuckling around.
Yeah.
And the rest of her clan is also named after cities in Colorado.
Perfect. Well, cool. So before we end out, we gotta talk about a score. So Land of the Linnorm Kings on a scale of 1 to 5.
Linnorms, curses.
I mean, I kind of just want to scale it on Linnorms because I think it's funny to
Yeah.
imagine like the scale being like these
Multiple.
little wingless dragons just hanging
Okay,
out. Like, cool.
1 to 5 Linnorms.
To travel there, I'm gonna give it like a 3, but in my heart, it's a 5 out of 5.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, the realistic answer is a 3. This sounds like the best kind of chaos is a 5.
Yeah.
5 in our hearts, 3 in our brains.
Yeah, the whole book reading through, I'm like, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, I just want to be here.
But yeah, I don't actually want to
Yeah.
live there. Yeah, I mean,
No, it'd be great to have a campaign. It would be really unfortunate to be a level 0 person
That's
just
true.
living there.
As
Your system of government's what?
as tour guides, we cannot recommend you go to the Linnorm Kings
There's
unless
definitely
you're
like a
ready to
State
fight.
Department advisory, like warning: travel to the lands of the
Yeah.
Linnorm Kings may involve destabilizations of government.
Highly dangerous.
Nice. Cool. Well, 3/5 out of 5 Linnorms, depending on if you like the idea of it. So thanks again to all our listeners. We have hit our 20th episode, which is exciting. We've been doing this, oh my gosh, since February. So we've been doing this for a while. Thank you for coming along with us. We've just crossed over about 4,000 listens
Ooh.
to the podcast, which is awesome. We love doing it. We hope to continue doing it.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and we have, I think when we thought through this originally, we were like, we might make it like 40 episodes before we run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I
And
think
I'm
we have
like,
way more stuff.
Oh my gosh, we are halfway through 1 out of 5 continents.
And Paizo is just continuing to release more books.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there will be more information in different places, and there's cities we didn't even get to go to and the places we did go to.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we had a couple people reach out and talk to us about, Thassalon, and there was some cool things, if you dug a little deeper. So as we continue around, we're going to hit high level for the big countries, and then we're going to come back and dive into some of the cooler parts as we come back around. But yeah, thanks again for everybody coming with us on this journey. We really appreciate it. Really can't do this without you guys. And if you're enjoying listening, reach out to us, tell your friends, leave us a rating. You can reach out to us via email, tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram @tabletoptravelguide. Remember, we post our pictures and all the stuff on our website, tabletoptravelguide.com.
I guess I'll just post a map of the world this week.
just to help everybody conceptualize what we're doing.
Here's where we're at. Yes, we are on the north side of Avestan. But yeah, thanks again, and until next time, safe travels.
Bon voyage.